The four Davids are my series of paintings which represent 100 years of art history. Each painting is a tribute to Michelangelo. You know, the first time I saw his statue of the David was a powerful experience, and I wanted to paint something to acknowledge that. However, the idea grew into painting him 4 times in 4 very different styles. So, the paintings are actually a double homage. Initially to Michelangelo, but then inspired by works from Van Gogh, Picasso, Roy Lichtenstein, and Andy Warhol. Each painting is named David, followed by a year, which signifies the year of the painting of inspiration. Starting chronologically with David 1889. This was easily the most challenging painting and took considerably longer than the other 3 to complete. Van Gogh's painting style could not be more different from what I normally do, so understandably it presented the biggest learning curve. I decided the best way to achieve this end result, the countless thousands of multicolor brushstrokes, the intermixing, the blending, would be to do them one layer and one color at a time. So this way I could build the painting slow and steady and never have it get away from me. I'm especially proud of this one. Next we have David 1937. This painting was incredibly liberating because I did it after the very demanding David 1889. Like Van Gogh, Picasso's painting style is very, very different from my approach. He had this wonderful freedom of expression in his brushstrokes, and to capture that look, there were points during this painting that I had to cover the floor with a canvas tarp, as I had to use thick amounts of paint, and I was doing these big sweeping motions with the brush in kind of a reckless abandon, and the paint was flying everywhere. This painting was a lot of fun to do. Now we move on to David 1965. Unlike the other 3 painters in tribute here, which I developed a new appreciation and further admiration for, I've always been a fan of Roy Lichtenstein. I grew up in the 60s. I have a real connection to his work of this period, which had that comic book quality to it. Now, of course, I cannot talk about this painting and not mention the dots. Now, during his career, Lichtenstein approached the dots in various ways. He hand-painted them, he had them silk-screened, and the method that I chose to follow, stenciling. That said, the stencil was far from perfect, so I had to correct practically every one of these dots, and there are over 3,000 on this painting. I can assure you, it made my head spin and my eyes cross, but it was well worth it. Finally, we have David 1984. Again, like the other painters in tribute here, Andy Warhol's style is instantly recognizable. And choosing this last style in the series was also important, as it helps to illustrate the way visual art has developed over those 100 years. I enjoyed working on this painting because of the vivid color and that expression. You know, it also enabled us to see David in a completely new way, with flesh tones and this retouched photograph look. And since my natural way to paint is more photorealistic, I felt very at home working on this one. This painting jumps off the canvas. So what has been really rewarding about this series is it enabled me to break my stylistic barriers, learn new painting techniques, and grow as an artist. It was a great journey, researching each famous painter, reading about them and their lives, and going to museums to see their actual works, and getting my face close up to those paintings and examining their brush strokes and then coming home to these 4-foot square canvases and pushing myself in that direction to capture the same feel of those works. At the end of the day, this was an incredibly satisfying project. From developing the idea to completing the 4 canvases, and then standing back and seeing 100 years of art history staring back at me. These paintings are a big statement.